Tonight on KPBS Evening Edition, how much are you willing to pay for better transportation? MTS asks voters how they feel about a sales tax hike, what the results say about a potential ballot measure next year. And new calls for a San Diego school board member to resign, how Kevin Beiser is responding to accusations of sexual misconduct.
You're probably going to call that first number, maybe spend however long on hold, talk to somebody for a few minutes who's going to give you another number.
The frustrating cycle for people experiencing homelessness. We'll show you the new program in City Heights that offers a personal approach to getting help.
What's the number one goal? We've got to help people. We've got to help people get off the streets.
And California's mayors try to find solutions for the housing crisis with the help of Governor Gavin Newsom. KPBS Evening Edition starts right now. Good evening. It's Wednesday, March 20th. Thanks for joining us. I'm Ebony Monet. San Diego voters might get a chance to weigh in on a tax hike for mass transit. Transit operator MTS is gauging public opinion and just released new polling. KPBS Metro reporter Andrew Bowen says leaders are encouraged by the results.
For most San Diegans, riding the bus or trolley to work takes too long, and making it faster will likely require more money. MTS commissioned the poll to gauge whether voters would support a sales tax measure to fund new and improved transit services, but no highways. 67% of respondents said they would definitely or probably support such a tax. That's right at the two-thirds threshold needed for approval. County Supervisor and MTS board member Nathan Fletcher says more funding for transit will help reduce congestion.
And it's important to understand, no one is saying that every San Diegan will have to get rid of their car for transit. But to meet the demands of a growing region and to meet the things we need, we want to have more transit options.
MTS ridership has been slipping in recent years, but more recent data suggests that trend may be ending. San Diego City Council President and MTS Chair Georgette Gomez says the region has already set ambitious goals to fight climate change by growing transit ridership.
To do this, we need to be more intentional and invest in a transit system that is affordable and gets people where they need to get to.
MTS is now embarking on a public participation plan that will shape what kind of tax measure, if any, gets placed on next year's ballot. Andrew Bowen, KPBS News.
That public participation plan will be discussed by MTS board members tomorrow morning. You can read more at kpbs.org. Former USD basketball coach Lamont Smith has been named in the college admissions bribery scandal we first reported last week. The initial indictment claims a father paid $100,000 so his son would be admitted as a basketball recruit, even though he doesn't play. A confidential order from the Department of Justice ended today, making Smith's names public. Smith resigned from his coaching position last year after an unrelated domestic violence arrest. Several high-profile local politicians are calling for a San Diego school board member, Kevin Beiser, to resign. The list includes California Senate President Tony Atkins, Assemblymember Todd Gloria, and some city council members. More people have come forward to accuse Beiser of sexual harassment and assault. One of the accusers has filed a lawsuit. Beiser told the UT there's no truth to the allegations against him. Governor Gavin Newsom says he will adjust his budget proposals so that cities receive more money to fight homelessness. Newsom made the comments today after meeting with mayors from the state's 10 largest cities. The mayors, including San Diego's Kevin Faulconer, are asking for more money after former Governor Brown approved $500 million in grants.
Homelessness is the issue in every California city, ladies and gentlemen. And we have to work together, not only on additional dollars, but how we're spending those dollars more efficiently and putting them to programs and services that work and work now.
We haven't been doing enough to support cities. And that means we need to invest more resources, and we need to provide the resourcefulness that is the spirit of innovation that drives this state, and that is a different sense of intentionality of engagement.
Newsom's budget calls for $500 million in spending to deal with the housing crisis, but only $200 million would go directly to cities. Those numbers, though, could change when Newsom issues a revised budget plan in May. Many of the dollars coming to San Diego will go to homeless services downtown, but populations are growing in neighborhoods far from those services. KPBS reporter Taryn Minto explains how 2 communities are launching an experimental program to help.
I was actually worried it was going to be rainy like yesterday.
There was a day when Erin Papaleo knew she'd be homeless. It came after multiple surgeries put her out of work, and she couldn't pay her landlords the monthly rent of $900.
Okay, do I want to be a thorn in these people's side that are trying to run out their room and supplement their income?
So she made a choice. She'd live on the streets, save money, and be back on her feet in a couple of months.
My thinking at the time was very naive, looking back.
That was more than 2 years ago, and the associate's degree holder is still sleeping beneath North Park storefronts, wearing found clothes and eating food from strangers. She knows there are programs that can help her, but says it's not easy navigating that system, especially by phone.
Because I can tell you one thing, you're probably going to call that first number, maybe spend however long on hold, talk to somebody for a few minutes who's going to give you another number, and probably about 4 or 5 phone calls later, you're going to end up with that first number again.
That's where Jesse Angeles Jr. comes in.
But it is frustrating.
He's a newly hired homeless outreach specialist that focuses on the City Heights and North Park neighborhoods. Papaleo is one of his 23 clients.
Even working in social services, it's frustrating to contact another service provider and get in contact with the right person, and it's a headache.
His role is basically an experiment. A coalition of business groups, nonprofits, and elected officials are funding his position to help the area's homeless find permanent housing. His job is to roam neighborhood hotspots and offer services to those living on the streets.
North Park and City Heights, there's a limited amount of resources that can assist people that are experiencing homelessness.
Angeles wanders from streets to canyons, offering snacks, toiletries, and a range of services. He can help them get an ID, food stamps, health insurance, cash assistance, and hopefully a spot in a housing program. But not everyone wants help or accepts it right away.
It's mainly planting the seed, the idea that the services are out there for them. And when they see me again, they'll ask me, how can I get there?
He's not the first outreach specialist to venture into the communities, but he is the only one who keeps coming back to the same spots. He says that consistency helps him break down barriers with a skeptical population, including Erin Papaleo.
It wasn't until I think about the 2nd or 3rd time that Erin actually went up to me and was like, hey, I want help.
Since then, Papaleo says Angeles has quickly helped her complete the steps needed to move closer to a transitional housing program.
I mean, immediately, right off the bat, he, what do you need? Do you have an ID? No? Okay, well, let's get you a voucher. Do you need help getting down to the DMV? I'll go with you.
With the ID, she can now access Medi-Cal to become eligible for a housing and treatment program in Oceanside. At the same time, Angeles is working the phones on her behalf.
I'm actually calling the facility to set up, trying to find a point of contact so we can set up an appointment for a screening time.
He hopes to have her under a roof soon. And when the case file does close on Papaleo, helping her will likely lead to another opening.
Her circle that she's with, I know them as well. And so since I'm here so often, they'll say, hi, what's up, Jesse, how you doing? And I'm not here to enforce anything on them. I'm not here to judge them. I'm mainly here to help them.
Angeles will be on the job for at least 1 year, but the funders may not back his position again unless they see results. Taryn Minto, KPBS News.
Price Philanthropies provides funding for the coordinator position and is also a KPBS supporter. The head of the Navy is on the West Coast this week to oversee a major operation. KPBS military reporter Steve Walsh caught up with him this morning. And Steve, you got a chance to speak to him about a number of things in the news. What did he have to say?
Well, yes, Ebony, he was here for what was called Operation Pacific Blitz, a major naval operation. It included some elements at Camp Pendleton. It was kind of in transit. But I was able to talk to him about a number of things, including issues with private military housing. We know the story here. There have been a number of complaints raised by families, things like mold and deferred repairs.
So what did he have to say about fixing the problem?
So he admits that some of this is poor oversight on the part of the Navy. They just took their eye off the ball. The Navy is looking at some of these contracts they have with private military housing. But they're also looking at whether or not they just simply need more people locally to police some of these issues.
We're doing all of this, as quickly as we can. If we want our housing offices on each of our facilities to do a little bit more and get more intrusive, if you will, there may be the need to put some more people out there in the base housing offices.
So, Steve, we're seeing bills proposed by Congress that would give military families more protection while living in private housing. Where does he stand on that?
So right now he's not willing to support legislation. He is actually says he's happy about the level of scrutiny. He says that's going to help the problem, by shining a light on the issue. He set an April 15 deadline for local commanders to reach out to anyone in Navy private military housing who wants their home inspected. That's basically to give the Navy a better idea of just the full scope of the problem.
Did he have anything else to add about that?
Well, I tried to press him on using Navy money for building the border wall at Trump's border wall. He didn't want to comment on that. We also had a very significant conversation about the role of white supremacy in the Navy and what they're doing to root that out. We don't have time to do any talk about that, but we'll be doing that in further stories.
So it sounds like you covered a lot in your conversation. Anything else?
Well, again, so we talked a little bit about, I tried to pin him down on whether he thought any of these, any military construction project should be going to build the border wall, Trump's border wall. And he simply said that this is still in process here. They have not been able to, no decisions have been made, and he didn't want to go on record as commenting one way or the other.
You, Steve. KPBS military reporter Steve Walsh, thanks for that report.
Thanks.
San Diego's Public Utilities Department is trying to make sure customers don't see a repeat of sky-high water bills. KPBS reporter Priya Sridhar tells us progress is being made to correct the problem.
More than 2,000 incorrect water bills sent to San Diego residents and a backlog of 25,000 broken water meter boxes led the Public Utilities Department to today, showing the city's audit committee the improvements they've made since the auditor outlined recommendations to prevent these mistakes from happening again. They say they've completed 80% of the recommendations the city made, including flagging irregularly high bills before they go out to customers, developing standards and criteria for employee performance, and looking into more efficient routes for the crews who assess the water meters.
We've seen the bills that have, in terms of bills going out, the number of misreads in terms of higher bills has been reduced, and any that we see that come to our attention immediately, we're making sure that we're addressing those timely.
Leadership from the union that represents the workers who fix water meters say the improvements are a step in the right direction, but more needs to be done.
For moving forward with the 500 to 600 calls that come in per month and then an additional 125 get it done, is to equip our people, the city staff, with boots on the ground. That means more employees, modernize the vehicles and equipment, and give the crews the utilities that they need.
The Public Utilities Department says they are looking into hiring private contractors to alleviate the backlog of broken water meter boxes. They also say they've resolved all the issues of residents being overbilled. Priya Sridhar, KPBS News.
The Public Utilities Department says they're on track to have all recommendations complete by the end of this fiscal year. Some National Guard troops are being pulled from President Trump's border protection mission. About 100 troops will start wildfire prevention training next month. In the meantime, CAL FIRE is busy with its own fire prevention efforts. Crews are working to clear brush near fire access roads in the Bay Area. It's part of CAL FIRE's forest management strategy to allow a faster response to wildfires.
The brush up here is extremely thick. It hasn't burned in 40 years, and so it takes time to cut through it and ship it. It buys us time to be able to get people up here to fight the fire. It buys the residents that live up here an opportunity to get out.
Here in San Diego, fire conditions are low with high surf and a chance of rain lasting through tomorrow. Aaron Calandra has details in tonight's forecast.
Good evening. We do have a couple of advisories to talk about here. Through 1 o'clock on Friday, we're under a high surf advisory for the coast of San Diego County. That's because we have a low pressure system driving in. It made the ocean angry. We are seeing waves up to about 8 feet, so pretty dangerous with rip currents too. Now to the north of us, we are seeing a winter storm advisory as well. Through 8 p.m. on Thursday, we're going to see some snow dropping, but mostly elevation of about 5,500 to 6,500 plus. And again, that's not going to have an impact in the southern areas of San Diego County. But it's cloudy today with a couple of showers moving through. You could see that. San Diego picking up a couple of showers, those interior areas. That's because of a low pressure system that came into the north of us. Because of that, we have those gusty winds coming in right along the coast. Hence the surf advisory. For tonight, 56 degrees for the low with a shower or two still lingering, and that's going to be across the county. Oceanside could see a shower at 50 degrees, Chula Vista at 53, and Borrego Springs, we could even see a little bit of lightning, thunder and lightning popping up at 53 degrees. Now tomorrow it's going to look kind of like today. We're still going to see some of those scattered showers, temperatures a little bit on the cooler side at 62 in San Diego, Oceanside at 60, Ramona at 56 degrees, and it's going to be drier in Borrego Springs with some sunshine reaching close to 70. Late week, we are back to our normal pattern. Now, we can't rule out a shower popping up on Saturday, but mostly sunny and dry for most people. So here we are for the extended forecast on the coast. Showers on Thursday. Friday, we see improvement with that sunshine throughout the week. Temperatures slowly increasing. Again, there is a chance of a pop-up shower Saturday, and you could see that also in those interior areas. So a shower Thursday, again Saturday, but the rest of the week it is sunny and dry, reaching those mid-70s by Monday. In the deserts, enjoy that sunshine, put on those shades. Our temperatures are going to be reaching the 80s by Monday. And in the mountains, a touch of snow, again the highest elevations, and then staying nice and sunny for the rest of the week. For KPBS News, I'm Erin Calandra. Back to you.
The next president of Cal State San Marcos will move across the country to lead the university. The school announced today that Ellen Neufeld will start her new position in July. She is the current vice president at Old Dominion University in Virginia. Neufeld will succeed the retiring Karen Haynes, who served as Cal State San Marcos president for 16 years. New breakthroughs in firefighting technology. 2 devices for your living room were on display at UC San Diego. KPBS reporter Matt Hoffman shows us some of the highlights.
It's a digital object now, so we can actually share it around the world.
This is dubbed the Sun Cave.
And so one of the things that we're doing here at UC San Diego is generating scientific and archaeological content at high resolution.
The Sun Cave is 70 4K screens that create the world's highest resolution virtual reality system.
We've seen archaeology now. These are biomolecules, and so we can go on to the National Protein Database, pull down these structures like this, and then walk into them fundamentally.
UC San Diego also sent a team to the Pacific to bring to life coral reefs, but you'll need 3D glasses to see that. Researchers say this technology could be coming to consumers soon.
Imagine that in the future, these are the walls of your living room. Forget the TV. Why not just have the walls be live internet displays? And I think that's where we're going.
Conference attendees also got to hear how technology is helping fight wildfires.
The interface is so simple that we actually train the fire departments to do the modeling themselves.
Researchers have created models that, when combined with wind speed and other weather conditions, can predict what a fire will do.
Wind-driven fires move really fast. But if you can get ahead of it, you can manage it better.
The predictive models help first responders coordinate evacuations during fires. Researchers also say cameras are key for tackling wildfires.
You see the fire from multiple cameras here. And that's really, it sounds like a trivial thing, but it's the wildland and there's hardly any connectivity usually in those places. So being able to see the fire like this through those cameras, it can be used for early detection. It could be used for situational awareness.
There's fire cameras set up all over San Diego County, and that could expand to the entire state soon.
So the future will be, if you can imagine, all these cameras showing where the fires are, and then the fire location plus other information about the fire through satellites and sensors out there.
UC San Diego also showed off its unmanned aircraft technology that can help with building inspections. Matt Hoffman, KPBS News.
From smartwatches to social media posts, your interests and behaviors are a profit source for tech companies. The new book, The Age of Capitalism Surveillance, looks at how this all works. Here's some of the conversation with author and KQED Newsroom's Thuy Vu.
And Shoshana Zuboff joins us now in the studio. Nice to have you here.
So glad to be here with you, Thuy.
You coined the term surveillance capitalism. Can you explain to us what it is?
Yes. Surveillance capitalism, birthed in the 21st century in the digital era. Other eras of capitalism have evolved this way. They claim things that live outside the market dynamic, bring them into the marketplace to be able to be sold and purchased. So, for example, industrial capitalism took nature, brought it into the market dynamic, and sold it as real estate, as land.
You know, I know a lot of people who say they're worried about technology and data, and yet they go out and they buy something like Alexa, the personal assistant for their homes, and they say they're okay with that because they like the convenience. So there seems to be there's this disconnect between what they say they're worried about and what they do. What would you say to them?
You know, scholars call this the privacy paradox. We say one thing, we do another. But in fact, what we understand is that when you actually reveal to people what's going on behind the veil, backstage, nobody wants anything to do with it. The problem today is that most of us can't participate effectively in our daily lives without moving through the digital medium and these supply chains that lead right into surveillance capitalism's factories. So surveillance capitalism has amassed a tremendous amount of wealth. A lot of that wealth is directed to engineering these systems to keep us in ignorance. They are designed to be hidden. They are designed to be secret. So it's very hard for us to be cognizant. Even just a couple of weeks ago, Pew Research, has a story about Facebook users who have no idea the way in which Facebook is categorizing them to feed them to advertisers. Even today, people are surprised and ignorant about what's going on. The answer lies not just in the individual's action. It's intolerable that we should be asked to give up the digital, its utilities, its conveniences, its information, for the sake of protecting ourselves from these pernicious activities. What we really want to do is discover our shared interests and begin to join together in the kinds of political and social action that will ultimately make a difference. New law, new regulation.
If this tide of so-called surveillance capitalism is not tamed, what do you fear will happen?
What I fear will happen is an assault on democracy. The kind of future that we'd be heading toward is very different from the future that we want. First of all, instead of democracy, we have computational truth. Instead of society, we have population statistics. Instead of human autonomy, we have people who are tuned and herded, rewarded and punished to move in certain ways toward the guaranteed outcomes that the owners of these systems desire. And it is against the very nature of the free and autonomous individual.
All right, Shoshana Zuboff, your new book is The Age of Surveillance Capitalism. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Thuy.
I'm Judy Woodruff. Tonight on the NewsHour, the death toll rises as the scope of the devastating cyclone in Mozambique comes into clearer focus. Coming up at 7, right after Evening Edition on KPBS.
Now for a look at today's top stories. San Diego Mayor Kevin Faulconer joined several other mayors in Sacramento today to show their support for the Homeless Emergency Aid Program. The state fund pays for housing initiatives at the local level. Governor Gavin Newsom also took part in today's meeting. Several high-profile local politicians are calling for San Diego School Board member Kevin Beiser to resign. The list includes California Senate President Tony Atkins and Assemblymember Todd Gloria. Voice of San Diego reports 4 men accused Beiser of sexual misconduct. Beiser told the UT there's no truth to the allegations against him. Former USD basketball coach Lamont Smith is among those charged in the college admissions bribery scandal. A confidential order from the Department of Justice ended today, making Smith's name public. He's accused of taking a bribe to allow a student to be considered an athletic recruit, even though he didn't play basketball. You can find tonight's stories on our website, kpbs.org/evening edition. Thanks for joining us. Have a great night.